States of mind. I've taken a handful of quotes from Neville Goddard, Emmet, and I want to discuss this concept called states of mind. The idea is that there are infinite states of mind, and these states of mind are accessed in your imagination. And any one of these states of mind represent the ideal outcome, or the definite chief aim, or the desire that's one that you want to see brought forth. And by imagining the ideal outcome, impressing it on the subconscious mind, you begin to move in the direction of realizing the state of mind in the outer world, externalizing it. This is done through thoughts, emotions, behaviors that flow as a result of what has been impressed on the subconscious mind. Even forces beyond comprehension are drawn to the aid of a person who honors, who assumes, and believes that the state of mind will be externalized. Now, there are three areas that I find to focus on when creating the outcome, and I've consolidated it into belief, acceptance, and unconditional love. Belief being that if you believe it's possible, then you are on the journey towards realizing your destination, the ideal state, the desire. It's important then to reflect on the journey, otherwise known as a bridge of incidents, to reveal any disempowering beliefs or assumptions that show up and change the meaning within, the programming within, realizing that most of this programming comes from past people, environment, circumstance, and information that we might have assumed to be true, but we don't have to continue to identify with these beliefs and assumptions, and we can change them within to be more in alignment with what we want to see brought forth, which is our state of mind that we have impressed on our subconscious mind. Acceptance of the current reality, being in the now, otherwise known as being in the now by Eckhart Tolle. The important element of acceptance is the recognition that what has been externalized in the outer world is either information that's going in that you were not aware of, that you are placing yourself into that environment, that you are taking in, that is now impressing your subconscious mind and will be externalized future again, and again, or based on past programming that you've assimilated in your past that is now re-externalized in the outer world. Acceptance doesn't mean that you are going to continue to recreate the current circumstance if it's not ideal. It means to understand, to be present and be in the now, and reflect back to the cause and effect relationship, cause being within and the effect being in the outer world, and to cross-reference the implications of the cause and effects so that you can change the programming within, change the meaning within, change the beliefs and assumptions within, so that you no longer find yourself in the externalization of a previous state of mind that you might have been either consciously or subconsciously being projecting outwards or recreating. The third being unconditional love. If we fight against circumstance, if we fight against the outer world, all we do is re-impress the subconscious mind. There's a saying, what you resist persists. Unconditional love means that you release the grip of the outer world and you express from within, not wanting anything in return, but realizing that everything is cause and effect, that what you impress in your subconscious mind, the state that you assume, the belief and assumptions that you hold true, will be externalized unconditionally. Now, we do this from a place of love because what we really want to see brought forth is what we love in people, environment, circumstance, and information. And this is all encompassed in either a definite chief aim or definiteness of purpose. Watch the video I did on combining the definite chief aim with definiteness of purpose. Linking multiple areas of your life over to one goal or creating multiple goals in different areas of your life to release certain programming that you've assimilated on your way. As mentioned, I always value the destination and the journey. Someone asked me, what's better, the destination or the journey? Bringing forth the desire, creating success, or the journey? I would say both are one. The journey allows you to release programming, different elements that were from past states of mind that were outside of conscious awareness, taken in and impressed in the subconscious mind to externalize, releasing those elements so that you can create success again and again and again and live the life that you want to live from the perspective of multiple areas of your life. So here's the premise. Life is a state of consciousness. Emmet Fox. Life is a state of consciousness. And there are different states of consciousness. The different states of consciousness represent the different understanding and ability to work with the mind within to externalize accordingly. Thus, a person who is at a higher state of consciousness has a greater degree of belief, acceptance, and unconditional love. And because they hold true to these elements, they're able to externalize the state of mind that they choose easier. Now, as we start out on this journey, our consciousness might be at a lower level, and that's okay. Through the journey of bringing forth what we desire, our definite chief aim, we release ourselves from inharmonious beliefs and assumptions. We become more accepting of ourselves and others. We become more unconditionally loving. We release the grip of conditional love and go higher in consciousness over to unconditional love to externalize our state without the use of force. So the idea is that thoughts, emotions, actions flow from you when you're at a higher state of consciousness to externalize as the state of mind that you want to see brought forth. The vision that you hold in your mind, in your imagination, is impressed on the subconscious mind. And when a person has released disempowering beliefs, assumptions, has become more accepting and unconditionally loving, their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors flow. They experience more of flow. Flow is where challenge meets skill. If you encounter an obstacle, or so it seems as an obstacle or a challenge, you're able to quickly change the meaning within, oftentimes real time, and assume a higher state of consciousness that rises above that seeming obstacle to find the optimal action, the behavior, the thought, the words, or whatever it is that needs to be expressed from you to move forward past that obstacle, and you continue down this journey to bring forth what you desire. Neville says, now look at it this way. See the whole vast world as infinite states. All states. If they're all states and you are an immortal being, you are not the state. You are immortal. You enter a state and the state becomes alive. So life is a state of consciousness. And within the state of consciousness of life, there are many states of mind because all is mind. And you have the ability to choose one of these states of mind and have that impress on your subconscious mind to reveal to you about yourself on the journey towards realization, to release yourself from disempowering beliefs and assumptions, to be more accepting of what shows up so you don't find yourself being reactive to elements in the outer world, otherwise known as the world of Caesar, rather more accepting and understanding to evolve the programming within. Through this process, you find more joy, more bliss, and you find yourself more in flow. Different challenges that show up, you're able to overcome by evolving into higher thoughts. And as a result, you become more unconditionally loving because you're able to find that you're able to bring forth what you desire from a place of joy, bliss, and ease. Now, this is a journey. This may be experienced as challenging in the earlier stages. And as you continue to realize your dreams and bring forth your desires one after another, this will become easier because on the journey, you're also releasing the programming that's in your subconscious mind that you might have assimilated from your past people, environment, circumstance, and information. Another way of looking at it is how Emmet Fox describes. He says, there are as many universes as there are individuals to form them through thinking. So thinking creates reality. Our thoughts externalize as people, environment, circumstance, and information. And we can identify our thoughts and cross-reference it into the effects in the outer world to identify the states of mind that we are subconsciously or consciously identifying with, evolve our state of mind to a higher degree of empowerment, and then realize that there are infinite potentialities that we can see in our imagination. And these represent the universes that Emmet Fox is talking about. And we bring them forth through our thinking by holding true to the collection of thoughts that make up that state within the mind. So to evolve ourselves and to bring forth the state that we desire, we practice these three things. Number one is belief. Neville says, we have to make the adjustment. Think of an infinite number of states. Anything you can think of it. It exists now. Man passes through states like a traveler who passes through places, through cities. So you have to first believe that this is the way it works. There are states of mind, infinite states of mind, and you can choose to identify with any of these states of mind as you have been probably consciously or subconsciously doing right now, because you are not the state, you are beyond the state. You are the I am prior to the state that you identify with. Most of the time it's subconscious. And by identifying with this state in mind, you're able to see it externalized in reality through thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and forces that go beyond what you understand right now. You have to first believe that's possible. So here are some ways that can help you with this. Number one, seek to understand why the thought drops you out of the state of mind and change the assumption within. As you're going about your day-to-day on the bridge of incidents towards realizing the outcome, the externalization of the state of mind, observe the thoughts that drop you out of that state of mind, otherwise known as the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and question why is it that you had the thought. Most likely that thought is a revelation of past programming, past meaning that you are assigning to the outer world, which makes you feel reactive to an outer world element, people, environment, circumstance, and information. Otherwise, we call that the world of Caesar, that breaks the confidence and faith and belief that it's possible to some degree. Identify what that thought is and change the meaning within. Affirm it on your subconscious mind using subconscious mind audios or self-talk or imagination, and you'll find yourself believing the positive assumption or the positive belief that will be in alignment towards the state of mind externalized. What prevents the state of mind from being externalized is past programming that breaks the belief, past assumptions that are no longer in alignment with the state that you want to see brought forth, that in a way seem like hindrances. To make the bridge of incidents be one of flow, joy, bliss, and ease, we identify the assumptions and the beliefs and release them. Now, this is a choice because I believe, and this is my belief, that it's not just about the destination, but it's also who you become on the journey. You want to be more of a conscious creator. So thus, it's not just about bringing forth what you desire, but the different elements that reveal to you about programming that you've assimilated from your past that you can release on the journey, that's revealed on the journey. This is one of the great benefits of setting goals and definite chief aims, is it's very easy through contrast identify the programming based on reactivity that you feel towards people, environment, circumstance, and information on the bridge of incidents leading to the bringing forth of the state of mind that you want to see in the outer world. The outer world is the world of the unseen, and the inner world is the world of the seen. Belief and assumption makes the unseen seen to represent one of the infinite states of consciousness. So the outer world, if it does not appear right now to have the reflection of what is in your imagination, which is the state of mind you want to assume, brought forth, it's a matter of identifying the beliefs and assumptions that prevent it from being brought forth and changing it within to move into a state of belief, because perhaps it'll take weeks, months, or years. But will you stay true to the assumption on the bridge of incidents through the different elements that might appear to deny the outcome? If you have a high degree of confidence and belief that the outcome will be so, you might not even think about it after you've impressed it on your subconscious mind. It is otherwise known as dropping it, just realizing that it will be brought forth some way, somehow, and you will notice that one day it'll be brought forth. Now, for me, I've noticed this with certain things that I've desired at a certain point in my life. I impressed it on my subconscious mind using affirmations or visualization, and then years later it was brought forth. I didn't even realize that it was the exact thing that I wanted. And with certain things, I choose to identify on the journey, limiting assumptions, limiting beliefs, cross-reference so I could release those elements because they no longer serve me and they cause me to have a life riddled with disempowering externalizations of those assumptions and beliefs on the journey. Because if we look at this outer world and say, okay, there's states of mind in the inner world, we want to see it externalized, the way it unfolds is through the bridge of incidence. It unfolds. It may or may not just show up right now, but a lot of times what I notice is it shows up over a bridge of incidence. Now, those bridge of incidence, I want to be operating from a place of joy, bliss, and ease. I want it to facilitate my flow. So I ask myself what shows up that breaks my flow. What's the meaning I'm giving to the 5 sensory database elements, the world of Caesar-based reactivity elements that show up? How can I change the meaning, the beliefs, the assumptions I have about those elements within using one of the subconscious mind modalities? And once that has been impressed in the subconscious mind, I experience them less, or I am less reactive, or I don't experience them towards realizing the definite chief aim. What is it replaced with? It is replaced with the programming that I have instilled in my subconscious mind. Emmet says, your object is to drive the thought of the difficulty out of your consciousness. So if you have thoughts of difficulty, beliefs of difficulty, assumptions of difficulty, what's the meaning we can assign, even if it's meaning that others have never created? There's plenty of assumptions and beliefs that I've created about this outer world that go beyond the thinking of what others have thought me. And as a result of impressing these beliefs and assumptions on my subconscious mind, they externalized as the assumptions and beliefs that are empowering that I have instilled in my subconscious mind. And those other thoughts, which some say are very persistent elements in consciousness in this 5 sensory data world that we all agree upon, don't exist in my consciousness anymore. For example, certain kinds of feelings that I have when I communicate with people, if they say something where it appears that they are bringing down my sense of well-being. I once reflected upon this and said, why do I give it the meaning that they have the power to bring down my sense of well-being when I'm interacting with them? What if I recognize that I am the cause of this within, and the meaning that they're giving to me is revealing to me elements about myself that I'm being reactive to? In other words, they're doing a service for me. And while I'm having a conversation with them, if I find myself being reactive to certain conversational elements, I can change the meaning through self-talk real time. I believe it's possible. And while I never learned this from anyone else, I did it, and I was able to do it, and I'm able to do this again and again and again. Now, this allows me to have a greater degree of acceptance, a greater degree of unconditional love, because I'm not afraid then with who I'm interacting with. I know that who I'm interacting with are part of the story towards bringing the definite chief aim, plus they're also part of the experiences, the life experiences that I want to live, that are in harmony with the being of myself, which is the state of mind or the subconscious mind being that is constantly externalizing the bridge of incidence towards realizing the definite chief aim. And I want it to be one of harmony. So if a person shows up within my awareness, they're contributing, they're helping, they're revealing to me about myself. And all I do is look at it from this perspective, and I no longer feel a separation when it comes to people. Your heart's desire is the voice of God, and that voice must be obeyed sooner or later. So I believe in this quote because the way I look at it is the desires are received from the superconscious. They go beyond the subconscious. And the desire is to be expressed through us, and we bring forth this desire. That's why I always say the definite chief aim for me is a spiritual commitment. It's designed to help me bring forth what I truly want. In other words, I reflect and say, what do I truly desire? This is what I truly desire to be brought forth. And then in the process, it also cleanses me of disempowering beliefs and assumptions. Now, these elements are very useful. Beliefs and assumptions help us honor the state of mind or the feeling of the wish fulfilled. What are the assumptions and beliefs that may appear to deny us of the state of mind being brought forth or the feeling of the wish fulfilled? And we have a choice then if we want to change those programming elements within, because they exist within and they exist in the subconscious mind. And what I find is by changing them, I have a greater degree of faith, a greater degree of belief in the outcome. And this helps me because reality is a manifestation of beliefs and assumptions. And we can then look at the beliefs and assumptions that we have and say, where do these come from? And we can release them, and we can ensure that we continue to instill empowering beliefs, aligned beliefs, empowering assumptions, aligned assumptions towards the definite chief aim, or the state of mind that we want to see brought forth in the outer world. And all of those elements, the beliefs and assumptions, act as facilitators to bring forth what we desire. Now, the second element is acceptance. What I'm talking about here is being in the now kind of acceptance. Accepting this outer world as a reflection of previous states of mind, of a subconscious state of mind that has been externalized, or a consciously impressed on the subconscious mind externalization. And to look at this outer world and understand that these are reflections of within, people, environment, circumstance, and information. This degree of understanding allows us to accept ourselves. We feel more of the flow energy. We feel more at ease as a result of doing this. So Emmet Fox says, man is a mental being, and to know this is the first step to the road of freedom and prosperity. For as long as you believe yourself to be primarily physical, a superior kind of animal, you will remain in bondage, that is to say, to your own habits of thought, for there is no other bondage. So if we're believing that we are at the whim of lower states of consciousness, then we identify with those lower states of consciousness, and we accept being at the whim of those elements that make us be emotional, that facilitates certain kinds of emotional reactions within us based on that level of consciousness. Now, when we realize that we are beyond the states of mind, and we've got physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and we are spiritual, we release the grip of some of the physical, emotional elements that appear to bind us in past states of mind. Now, this is very useful because then from there, we can evolve the programming within. We can change our beliefs and assumptions. We can create new beliefs and assumptions that transcend what might appear to be physical absolutes or emotional absolutes. For example, a while back, I was taught, based on past experience, verified it as well, that we are at the whim of our emotions. And many of us and many people that I met would tell me that the emotions are going to always control my direction. And as a result of it, I was experiencing that to be so. But then when I came across this information, I realized that if mind is higher than the emotions, can I change something in the mind so I no longer experience emotions to pull me in a direction that was away from my definite chief aim, but rather facilitating towards my definite chief aim? So I started to change the assumptions, and I started to change my beliefs. And through the process of changing my assumptions and beliefs, I noticed that I would have different emotional responses to different people, environment, circumstance, information that appeared in the outer world. Now, that was all done in mind. So accepting a prior way of looking at reality that was based on lower levels of consciousness, predominant thinking, bound you into a certain reality, a certain state of mind externalized, that prevented you from seeing higher degrees of acceptance that will be realized once you release yourself of some of that past programming. This is why it's so important to reflect back on beliefs and assumptions and realize that all of us are raising our consciousness. My consciousness has been going up, your consciousness has been going up, and everybody's consciousness has been going up. And as a result of this consciousness rising, we have to release of the bondages of mind, which are beliefs and assumptions that hold true to certain consciousness that externalize. And by accepting that that's past programming, that may be true for past circumstances that could have served you, we no longer fight the circumstance. We reflect upon the reactivity to it, the inner voice that says this might not be the right assumption for us anymore, or the right belief. We go within, we find the new belief that allows us to now operate from a place of understanding what is revealed in the outer world, people, environment, circumstance, and information. We have a greater degree of understanding towards people, environment, circumstance, and information, and see their perspective, and release ourselves to choose our perspective. So they have their perspectives, you have your perspectives, and you honor your perspective. You understand their perspective. You might not want to identify with their perspective, but you accept your perspective. Emmet says, the art of life is to live in the present moment and to make that moment as perfect as we can by the realization we are the instruments and expression of God Himself. So realizing that consciousness is going to keep evolving is what he's talking about here. Higher and higher degrees of consciousness. And as a result of it, the present reality, the world that we live in right now, reveals to us clues of the binding or the bondage that exists in the mind to that outer world if it is a undesirable circumstance, undesirable environment. And we can change the meaning within and find ourselves then no longer in bondage by that outer world. Maybe we'll no longer choose that environment. Maybe that environment will change. This happens by changing the state of mind within. So the outer world represents consciousness externalized. As you raise up your consciousness and you choose the different states of mind, you will identify with that state of mind more so from a place of acceptance, evolving belief and assumption and unconditional love, and have it externalize in a bridge of incidence that will be more in flow, spirit of harmony, benefit for you, others, and divine, following the golden rule. And it'll externalize in the outer world, perhaps through your thoughts, emotions, and actions, or ways and forces that you might not consciously be aware of, or a combination of all those. People represent an accurate image of our own consciousness. The state we find in them is the state we will find within. So one of the best ways of evolving our consciousness, choosing the state of mind that we want to see brought forth, and honoring that state of mind till it's brought forth, is to reflect upon what people are revealing to you about yourself. So one of my favorite quotes from Neville Goddard, or sayings, is everyone is you pushed out. And all people represent a mood within me. Now, as your consciousness rises, you'll be able to see this more and more. In earlier stages, when my consciousness was not as high, this seemed like an impossibility. Like there's no way it could be true. And as I continue to work with this, I'm able to see it more and more so. What are they revealing? They're revealing aspects within yourself, assumptions and beliefs that we have within ourselves. And then we question those assumptions and beliefs and say, do we want to continue to honor those assumptions and beliefs? What are the implications? What are the effects in the outer world? And what are the effects on the bridge of incidence if we choose to continue to represent those elements that are within us that are being externalized by the people that we're communicating with? Now, through this process, we have a higher degree of acceptance. So we evolve our beliefs, we evolve our assumptions, we have a higher degree of acceptance, and this releases us from states of mind that were externalized from the past that are not in alignment with the state of mind that we want to see brought forth. Very important is unconditional love. Emmet says, suppose your whole world seems to rock on its foundations. Hold on steadily, let it rock, and when the rocking is over, the picture will have resembled itself into something much nearer to our heart's desires. So as we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we hold in our mind the state, the desired outcome, have it impressed in the subconscious mind. The outer world, the external reality, is reorienting itself to the externalization of the definite chief aim, or the state of mind, the ideal state of mind, the outcome. Now, in the process, the rocking of the world resembles certain past beliefs and assumptions from past programming. As those elements are released from the subconscious mind, we experience less and less of that. We experience more flow. Now, as we experience more flow, we become more loving and accepting and understanding. We have a higher degree of belief and faith in the outcome. So thus, we then have unconditional love. See, unconditional love is knowingness. The outcome has been impressed in the subconscious mind, and it is in the process of being realized. By evolving the programming within, certain behaviors and habits that were friction-based are altered or changed without any discomfort. Sudden changes in lifestyle may occur to be in alignment with the heart's desire. This happens from a perspective of real power within. Okay, not going into the outer world of Caesar and trying to change the outer world with force. By impressing the subconscious mind, the behaviors, thoughts, and emotions are expressed in a way to be in alignment with the ideal state of mind. So it is done in an unconditional manner. And as a result of unconditional expression, we're no longer expressing conditional elements that appear to fight with the five sensory data-based world, creating unnecessary confusion, conflict, and certain kinds of world of Caesar-based interactions that have nothing to do with the state of mind that you want to see brought forth. Pride of accomplishment is also excluded out of consciousness as infinite intelligence is expressed. You allow your wisdom and understanding that is stored in the subconscious mind, which is connected to superconscious mind, to express through you in creative ways, thoughts, emotions, and actions to bring forth what you desire from a place of flow. And you release ego-based elements like pride, focusing on who is right rather than what is right. Unconditional love does not mean that you are greater than and the other person is less than, or you are greater than this environment and the environment in front of you is less than. Now, this may seem counter to the rational mind, but what will happen is you will notice that the acceptingness will bring you into the ideal people, environment, circumstance, and information. And that energy of fighting, which was based on condition, binds you there. When the state is unconditional, in other words, you have a state of mind, you have the belief and the assumption that it will be brought forth. You observe what is being revealed in the bridge of incidents. You change your meaning to the reactivity-based elements, which was based on past programming. You have a greater acceptance for the now. You go into higher states of unconditional love. You'll find that there's no attachment, no expectation, no hidden agenda, and as a result of that, the infinite intelligence is expressed through you. The creative ways of being brought forth through thoughts, emotions, actions, and forces that go beyond that, you might not be consciously aware of, work in your aid to bring forth what you desire. And this is the process that I found to help with honoring the state of mind that you choose to go into, knowing that there's infinite states of mind. If you can imagine it in your mind, then that represents a state of mind. And the way you maintain that state of mind is through these three elements: belief, acceptance, and unconditional love. If you want to copy this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.